What's up, people? Welcome to week 7 of the Chasing Kilos podcast. Um, Joey and Matt here again, and this week we are excited to talk about competing, or pretty much just a general overview of competing. Matt actually just competed and coached in a weightlifting meet this past weekend. So if you want to share a little bit of your experience there, Matt.
Yeah, it was stressful. I was supposed to compete. I was not supposed to coach. So our coach last minute ended up going to the emergency room with a kidney stone.
Yikes.
So I got thrown to the wolves. It was a good experience. Honestly, I'm really glad to say that I did it, just to kind of see like what actually goes on like on meet day.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You see like all the Instagram posts, like Travis Mash, all those guys, for example. But like what you don't see is like actual meet day coaching. And I feel like that's so much more difficult and so much different than what's out there right now.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. I actually haven't seen a lot on actual meet day coaching, especially for weightlifting out there.
Right, and I understand it is so like niche. So
Yeah.
not tons of people are gonna put it out there. But even when like that day, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was like looking at everything I could find, panicking a little bit just to make sure there was nothing I was missing.
Yeah.
And there's not much out there. There really isn't.
Oh, yeah. So how long have you been competing for? And only weightlifting or any other strength sports? Or
Yeah, no, only weightlifting. I'm trying to think how long though. I think I started competing. It was in college, my junior year, and then I think I competed for about 3 years, and then took a couple years off. And this was the first one in like 2 years.
cool. Yeah. So I personally, I've competed in powerlifting since I think 2015, and I pretty much took most of last year off as well. But only powerlifting. And how long into like your lifting career would you say you started competitively lifting?
Oh, that's tough. Like, how long after I started weightlifting specifically, or just like lifting in general?
No, so like for me, I guess if you count like messing around in the gym in or in the weight room in high school, until I started seriously training for strictly powerlifting, that was probably like from 2009 until 2014, and then that's when I started doing strictly powerlifting training, or somewhat strict.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it was probably like 5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't compete or have any aspirations to compete when I first started. Honestly, if anything, I had more like physique goals right when I started.
Right.
I made like a weird not weird, I think a lot of people do it, of like physique to strength,
Yeah.
and then somehow found weightlifting. I don't know. I don't know why.
All right. Yeah. I feel like most people start with physique. Most people want to like get in the gym to look better.
Yeah, and I don't think like in our culture, like there's just not an emphasis put on like strength sports.
Yeah.
Like no one goes to the gym to be like you see it with bench press, but no one like grows up being like, oh, I can't wait to squat 400. As opposed to like everyone wants to look good, you know?
Yeah. 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 No, weightlifting really isn't as big of a sport here in America as it is in some other countries around the world.
Yeah.
I know Mexico, like China, Iran, Korea's pretty good actually.
Yeah.
But just in America, it's not very popular yet. But it is starting to grow, I believe.
I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but I know it's definitely growing. Obviously,
Yeah.
like largely influenced by CrossFit blowing up.
Right.
But it's been steadily growing since.
Yeah. And meanwhile, in the past since I started competing, actually, powerlifting has skyrocketed.
Yeah, powerlifting is getting really popular.
Yeah.
I think it's just like Instagram's helping, like just having more exposure, and like powerlifting seems to be doing a better job of, and I could be totally wrong on this, but almost like compensating their athletes. Like it seems like you can make more a living being like a powerlifting competitor / personality than weightlifting.
Oh, really?
From an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
And I could be totally wrong.
Go expand on that a bit. I'm interested to know why.
I just mean like Mark Bell,
Yeah.
um, like Dan Green. Like you have all these like personalities
Okay. Yep.
in powerlifting that like a business has been built around, like Damian Bailey, Rob Bailey. I
Right.
know
Right.
more like bodybuilding, but it just seems like there's more of a market for that. Like people are more interested in like seeing that, whereas I think weightlifting is still kind of fringe. Like people don't think to like go on YouTube and look at weightlifting.
Right.
And usually when you go on YouTube and type in weightlifting, honestly, like weightlifting as one word is not going to pop
Yeah.
up. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just spitballing, but I kind of feel that way.
No, I get that. I get that. I feel like for at least an American audience, powerlifting is portrayed more on social media as like extreme.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think we as Americans tend to gravitate towards that a bit.
Well, you
Uh,
see just the numbers and the weights, like
yeah,
in someone's eye, like 1,000-pound deadlift every time.
yeah. I think that's cool, but I honestly think that weightlifting is like more graceful.
That's what always like attracted me to it personally.
Yeah,
As like a coach, I just like the complexity of like the movement.
right.
That doesn't mean I'm good at it at all, but there is something about like that gracefulness.
Yeah, like I don't know if this is a fair comparison, but I would compare it to like uh, weightlifting and powerlifting to like figure skating and ice hockey. Like obviously, ice hockey does take a lot of technique and practice as well, but it's more like brute strength, I guess, than
Right.
figure skating.
And that's the thing with weightlifting is like, I think what initially drew me to it in the beginning is I was never that strong.
Yeah,
But I was always willing to like put in the time to learn. So right then and there, that kind of like got me past like the first group of people.
yeah,
Because I took the time to learn the snatch and the clean and jerk. It wasn't pretty, but
yeah,
but like I wanted it, if that makes sense. Whereas
yeah.
opposed to like powerlifting, you obviously need good technique, but
Right.
tough because there's so many strong people out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then we'll get into this a little bit later, but just to touch on that, how long did it take you to like fully snatch and clean and jerk properly, like mobility and everything wise?
A long time, like properly a long time. I would say it took me maybe a year
Oh
into
wow.
weightlifting, maybe closer to 2,
Oh
to
wow.
be able to like comfortably hit the positions that I needed to without pain.
Yeah.
Like that being said, I came into it like mobility, movement, whatever was just never really like my focus. And I'd never spent time stretching or doing anything like that. And I just didn't really have like the range of motion demands of like a full snatch. So
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready for it.
Would you say that's like a common time frame it takes for someone to learn how to do it properly?
I would say it's usually faster.
Oh, okay.
Like it's tough because you're either like you have that range of motion or you don't from the get go.
Right. Right.
You can definitely develop it, and it depends on like your body mechanics and everything. And some people like I think if you have a background moving, like athletes,
Yeah.
like gymnasts, you see like
Oh yeah.
gymnastics athletes,
Definitely.
I think of weightlifting so fast.
Yeah.
Because they have really good body mechanics. They like move well. They understand their body well,
Yeah. I guess
and
that.
they're strong. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've seen like, for example, like powerlifters kind of have a detrimental quality. Like when going into weightlifting, is they're strong enough to like lift up most of the weights that you would do when you're beginning,
Yeah.
but they have bad positions.
Right.
So it almost like masks that for a while.
Yeah. Like we pretty much just turn into ego lifters.
Yeah, which is really hard not to do, especially like.
Yeah.
I think the hardest part too is like if you're a powerlifter and you compete and you deadlift 800 pounds, whatever you deadlift,
Right.
and then you go and you start to snatch, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it isn't really like it is a strength sport, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah. Definitely. You can get you can get away with cheating a deadlift a lot more than you can cheating a clean.
Right? Yeah. Well, it's just so fast that like those little things are just amplified.
Yeah. All right. So with like the popularity and the spreading of these strength sports through social media and everything, what would you say to someone who just like walked in day one? Like, how long do you think most people should take to build a background? Or what do you think should be the like point of entry, I guess, if someone is seeing this on Instagram or Facebook and they're like, oh, that looks awesome, I definitely want to try that?
Yeah, I would say that the whole process is streamlined and sped up so much faster by getting a coach. And even if you're really, really worried about the money, I promise you 6 months of coaching, even if you stop at the end, will do better for you than taking 2 years to try and figure it out on your own, at least when weightlifting is concerned. Powerlifting is a little bit like slower, not easier to coach, but you see things slower. Obviously, the lifts aren't as fast, so it's easier for you to like self-correct. So while you still should have a coach for powerlifting, I think you could probably figure that one out on your own a little bit faster.
Yeah, I feel like for powerlifting, they might need it more so for just the programming aspect.
Oh, absolutely.
But as far as the main lifts are concerned, you can probably get away with, if you're really like attentive to your own technique, you might be able to get away with it.
Right. And I would say that regardless for either sport, you need a coach for the day that you're competing.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
Don't go to a meet without a coach.
Yeah.
People will help you. Seriously. Even if you don't have a coach, people will help you.
Yeah. It's I don't know about weightlifting because I've never competed, but as far as powerlifting, it's one of the most like I love the community. It's so friendly and welcoming.
Yeah. Weightlifting is, I would say, the same way. It's very rare that it's not that way, and when it's not that way, it sticks out to everyone in the room.
Yeah, I get that.
So yeah.
But yeah, going back to it, I think as far as on the powerlifting side, you should have a firm grasp of all three of the lifts: the squat, bench, and deadlift, before you even think about competing, and to do them well with good technique. To a passable range of whatever federation you're looking to go into. Like, for example, the USAPL, which I compete in, for the squat, you have to have your hip crease pass below the top of your knee during the squat. Some other federations are a little more lenient on that, but just in case, you really want to have a good grasp of those fundamental movements before even thinking of signing up for a meet.
Definitely.
Weightlifting is a little more technically difficult, so what would you say to that?
Yeah, that's where it's really tricky, and I was like thinking about this a lot yesterday when we started talking about the topic.
Yeah.
And like part of me wanted to say, like, kind of like how you answered it, is you should have good technique before you start competing. But that being said, like if you're a master's athlete, you might never be able to do a full snatch.
That's
or
true.
A full clean. Like you might just be powering everything. You might split clean or split snatch. So I would say that you need to have like at least a base level of consistency.
Yeah.
In the sense that you should be able to go out there and hit 3 lifts in a row on a good day, regardless of the way that's on the bar. That doesn't stand for like 90 to 100%. But if you're going out there and you can't make 3 lifts in a row with 50, 60% of your max, don't try and do it at a meet. It's just going to be too much for you to think about. And I think it'll have more like mental like repercussions than anything. It'll kind of kill your confidence.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would say just develop a base level of consistency. And then whenever you find yourself a coach, get started. It really depends too. Like if you want to start competing and you want to be good, I'd say start competing as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're just like not casual, but like if this isn't your career or like your sport for life, just start when you feel you're ready.
Yeah. And just to, I don't want to like demotivate you guys, but you're probably not going to make it. Like
no.
The top, I forget what, like, okay, so for my federation, the global powerlifting federation that I compete under is the IPF. And in order to qualify for the world championship for IPF, you have to get first place in your weight class at nationals. So just think of like on the website that tracks everyone's numbers for USA Powerlifting, it only goes up to 999, I think. But that's pretty much how long the list is for every weight class.
Damn.
So not to discourage any of you from going out and competing, but it's not something just to get out there first. It's not something that you should put your entire livelihood on and like sacrifice your career for.
I
Or
think
your
that
social life.
I think it's tough because I feel like there needs to be a voice out there in today's world that's like, just because you compete doesn't mean you're a professional athlete.
Yes.
And I'm torn because I do feel like it's not fair to people who are trying really hard and they need something to compete in, like myself. But you do have to be able to realize that like you can't sacrifice your entire life for this.
Yeah.
And I think it's tricky when we start doing sports like weightlifting and powerlifting that aren't like as popular as like the NFL or basketball. And like you can go to nationals, or you could go to the American Open. And then like on Instagram, you see people, it's like, oh, competing at nationals, competing at American Open. It's like, well, you might be in like the D session or, you know, and that's not bad at all. And that's awesome for you. But like, don't throw away your life to do that.
Right.
And it's just tough. It's hard because you do sound discouraging to people.
Yeah. But it's just like personally, like going into when I went to nationals in 2017, like I was so like in love with powerlifting, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to get first. So like it's not worth putting everything into, which sounds like a bad piece of advice.
Right.
But, yeah.
But it doesn't because like I think that's like true grit is like knowing you're not going to win and then still going and still like grinding your ass off.
Yeah.
But then like it's not a cop out of like, oh I'm not going to win, so I'm just not going to take my training seriously. Like,
yeah,
that's not that. It's, you know, that you're not going to make this your career, so you don't get to put other things off to the side and make them not as serious, like a family or your friends, you know?
Right.
I think that's tough.
Yeah, definitely. I think a better way to look at it is if you're already in your 20s, you're probably not going to make it to the top if you're starting now. Think about it like if you're in your 20s and, you know, you go play recreational football or basketball. It's very, what was that movie that Mark Wahlberg was in? He was played for the Eagles or whatever.
Oh my God, one of my favorite movies of all time. I know it's not The Replacements, but that's also
right.
All time. Crap, this is gonna drive me nuts.
But yeah, it's like that. You're probably not gonna get picked for a walk-on, or in this case, like you're probably not gonna be able to make it to Worlds and be the top lifter in the world. But it's still worth going out there and trying your hardest. You figure it out?
No, there's still so much respect in that.
Yeah.
Invincible, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, and I guess that is a really tough topic to talk about. But then like there is something else to be said for like there's people who don't compete, but every day they train just as hard, if not harder, than people that do.
Yeah.
Like you got to have your own little personal battle.
Right.
And I think the coolest thing about training is like it's your own little like story or highlight reel or movie, if you will.
Yeah.
So you can do with it what you want.
I think that was actually one of the more common mistakes of people going into competing for the first few times is that they don't see that they're competing against themselves. They're like, oh, you know, this dude's lifting another 5 kilos ahead of me, so I got to jump up more.
Right. No, screw that. Like when I'm going to a meet, it's tough. Like not tough, but like, so I competed last time. And a guy on my team literally went like kilo for kilo for each other. And he ended up beating me by a kilo. But that being said, like it wasn't until literally the end of the meet when someone was like, oh, like Chili beat you by 1 kilo. We didn't know. We had no idea. Because you're so focused on yourself. And like you want to go 6 for 6 or you want to hit.
Right.
Your PR, you know? And that's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that all beginner lifters should try to go for is make all of your lifts.
100%.
Um, and it doesn't even matter if it's your first meet and you don't hit a PR. It's better if you are more consistent with it than to bomb out on the platform or whatever.
It's tough to come back from bombing out.
Yeah, it is. You ever bomb out?
Yeah. Yeah. I say that from experience.
Yeah,
It's
same.
funny because this meet actually, you know how I said I competed before and then took like 2 years off and then came back?
Yeah.
I made like the cardinal sin of, I think the last meet I competed in before I stopped competing, I bombed out.
Oh yeah.
So then like coming back to this meet, I like had that in back of my mind.
Yeah.
And it messed with me for sure.
For those of you who don't know the lingo quite as well, bombing out. So you have three attempts to make a lift in either powerlifting or weightlifting, and if you fail all three of those attempts, then you're pretty much off of the meet roster or whatever. You can still compete, but you won't. Even if you make first place by getting all your other lifts, you're not gonna be put on the list or whatever.
Also, like with powerlifting too. So say you bomb out in the squat.
Yeah.
Do they let you finish the meet or no?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, weightlifting, like at a local meet, they let you finish.
Oh, really? You can't finish if it's a bigger one?
I want to say, I know in the Olympics you don't continue,
Yeah.
and I want to say at nationals too. Like, so say you bomb out in the snatch,
Yeah.
you don't get to take your clean and jerks just because it doesn't, like, you won't total.
That's true. Right. That makes sense. Um, yeah. So what about people who might be on the fence about it, but like they're kind of scared, like, like I don't know if I'll win, or I don't know if it's worth going.
I say if you're on the fence, do it.
Yeah.
If you're even thinking about doing it, do it, because you'll have a real good reason not to, and you won't even be thinking about doing it if that's a good reason, like you're hurt, or you literally started yesterday. But other than
Yeah.
that, your mind's going to create so many reasons not to because you're nervous. And they always say, like, you're never ready. You really are never ready. You could always come up with why you should have one more month, one more week, one more day. Just do it.
Yeah. I actually competed my first one. I didn't have a belt or knee sleeves or anything. I just had my singlet. I don't even think I had wrist wraps.
That's awesome, though. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, then that's the point, is like you don't need to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I met some of my closest friends through powerlifting meets, actually. So, I mean, just going for the social experience. Well, obviously, don't do that, but going for that is really cool.
Wait, right. And also, I guess that kind of being said, if you're really that nervous, go. Don't compete. Just go to one.
Oh yeah.
Hang out. Like, people will talk to you.
Yeah.
Just see what it's about.
Yeah.
And it's really not like the nerve-wracking experience that you think it would be.
Yeah, definitely. And just by going to watch too, you get a better grasp on the rules and how the referees are and how the whole thing runs.
Exactly. And the atmosphere. Like, just being in that atmosphere, you kind of get your nerves going. You get your adrenaline pumping a little bit. So
Yeah.
just like a feel for that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So for a lot of people who can't afford a coach, there's plenty of free powerlifting programs out there. Obviously, not all of them are good, but we'll go over those in a sec. Do you guys have pretty much the same resource for weightlifting?
Yeah, I would say that typically most people find like Catalyst Athletics, and like Greg Everett puts out good information on there. He has some really good like beginner programs. He has a book. So there's always, like, programming wise, good resources to start with, and relatively simple too.
Okay, yeah, Greg Everett. Yeah, I've heard of his book, Olympic Weightlifting for Sports.
Yep, he's got a few. Like, there's just the regular Olympic weightlifting. There's Olympic weightlifting for sport. I think
Yeah.
a couple others too. He's kind of the gold standard in like educational content for weightlifting.
Okay. Have you ever tried any of the free weightlifting programs or anything, like the template ones or anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because when I first started, I didn't have a coach. I like taught myself. So I know I used someone's templates. I just can't remember where.
Um,
Oh my god, yeah. You know what? Actually, I was like a big like starting strength guy,
oh,
and then
really?
what's that?
All right. For weightlifting?
No, like when I first started lifting, and then like started to try and get into the powerlifting a little bit, and then like found starting strength, and then started learning more. And there was a group of guys that were like under the starting strength like affiliate, but they
Yeah.
had branched off, and they were more into weightlifting. So that's how they wrote like a
Okay.
transitional
Yeah.
program going from powerlifting to weightlifting.
Right.
So that's what I started with. But yeah, it was a template.
All right. Just from that, actually, uh, what do you think is starting strength for people who want to get into something like that,
Into weightlifting.
or any strength sport?
Um, I think if you, that's tough because it's simple and it works. I don't think it addresses any like really, really individual, like movement restrictions or things that you might have. But
Yeah.
it doesn't need to, nor does it try to. So I think it's a pretty good place to start as far as like simple programming goes.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think for beginners it's okay. But after that, I think you should start looking at other things. Like intermediates, I always point to people towards 5-3-1, um, just stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think starting strength is pretty good for beginners, but only beginners.
Right, and like I just think that it oversimplifies something, if that makes sense, and that's
Yeah.
great for a beginner. But at some point, if you're going to start competing, you want to start like learning about how and why these things are happening, why they're working, and like different
Right.
phases of your cycles, and like stuff like that. And it obviously doesn't get into that.
Yeah. I actually started with the Strong Lifts 5x5, which
Yeah,
is
we
pretty
have.
similar.
I've seen like I've never done it myself, but I've seen
Yeah.
clients and people do it, and they show me the program.
Right. Like Matt said, it's a simple, pretty effective program, especially if you're just starting off and uh, going into strength from like the general 3x10 that a lot of people like to do.
Right. Which honestly, if I get a new client anyway, and they eventually want to do powerlifting, we're going to start with 3x10s anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the good progression.
Yeah.
Doing it.
For powerlifting, I went on powerlifting.com, and Izzy did a really great job putting out his own review of a bunch of free programs, as you can see here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The Texas method is brutal. I don't know if you've ever done that.
I've never done Texas. Actually, it's pretty much 5-3-1, right? But different.
Okay, I could see why people say it's like 5-3-1,
Yeah.
but it's like 5-3-1 with like daily adjustments as opposed to like weekly and monthly, if that makes sense. So like
Yeah.
5-3-1, your first whole week you're hitting fives, the next week you're hitting threes, and then the next week you're hitting the ones.
Right.
In Texas method, the first day is like a volume day to like drive an adaptation. So that's like your 5x5 day. And then the second day is like moderate weights. So that would be like 3x3 or 5x3, whatever it is. And then the last day you're working up to heavy singles.
Oh, okay, I see.
Or like a heavy set of 5, but still
Right.
it still like has the same concept.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
I would say that that's more aggressive. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so I will link that below, and I will link sorry, who was the guy that you were talking about? I just forgot his name.
Greg Everett.
Yeah, Greg Everett's website into the description below as well. Okay, all right, well, you guys only have one federation, so there's really not much talking about there.
Keeps it simple.
Yeah. Powerlifting, we have a few federations. Just in the States, a few of the bigger ones are USA Powerlifting, USPA, which is United States Powerlifting Association. We have RPS, which is Revolution Powerlifting Syndicate or whatever. probably some smaller ones, but those are the main ones. Honestly, if you live on the West Coast, you'll probably have a better time lifting for USPA. If you live on the East Coast, USAPL, just because that's where they host the majority of their meets.
That makes sense. I was going to ask.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
But the USPA does have a untested side, and that's where everyone really shines, like the Larry Wheels and Steffi Cohen's and all that. Meanwhile, USAPL is pretty much tested for everyone randomly.
Across the board, right?
Yeah. So there's that to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the USPA does pay their top lifters at, like, for example, I think it was the Kern US Open, which is actually the biggest powerlifting meet in the world. Let me see. Yeah, I think the winner got like 15 or 16,000.
Damn. Did you see Rogue put out a prize for anyone who deadlifts over, shit, I can't remember how many kilos. I think it's over 1,000 pounds on the new bar that they made or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I could be like repeating it incorrectly.
I mean, what's that, like Brian Shaw and Eddie Hall, and that's it?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
All right. But yeah, besides that, USPA is a little more slightly lenient on the rules. They do allow for your heels to come up on the bench, whereas USAPL requires your heels to be down. The reason I'm not talking about RPS a lot is because I just don't know a lot about it. It's definitely a smaller one. It's great for if you want to just enter and start. They definitely have a lot more laid back, chill vibe to it. So it's kind of like if you and a bunch of friends just started a meet in the gym. It's kind of like that.
Nice.
They have green plates and a monolift.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I found it. It is 50K. But I don't know the details on the bar. I can send you that video though for the show notes.
Yeah. But yeah. All right, let's see what else we going for. Oh, if you are interested in competing, what type of gear do you need, or like what do you need to prepare for weightlifting?
Make sure you have a list the night before. I just love having a good checklist just because I'm gonna be nervous anyway.
Right.
But I know if I have the list, I don't have to keep digging through my bag 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But basically, you just want food for the day, water, obviously, any of like your pre-workout, any of those like normal things that you do, your shoes, your singlet. The big thing is you got to make sure that you have your USAW member card for weigh-ins. You have to do that, and you have to know your openers because they'll ask you your openers for the weigh-in. So I would say the biggest thing that people mess up with weightlifting is not knowing their openers or having their USAW card when they show up.
For us, we can have ours, like if you pull up your email, does that work?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
okay.
You can use it on the phone. You just have to like obviously be logged in and show proof that it's you and everything.
Right. Yeah, definitely have that checklist. Bring food and drink because it is a long day.
People, oh my God, I feel like people hear that and they don't understand because I was the same way. I was like, yeah, whatever, long day. It's a really long day.
Like it's not a long day by like hour. It's a long day of lifting.
Yeah, it's insane. And you're going to be so tired by the end. Just like emotionally and physically drained.
Right.
I used to always get sick after a meet.
Oh, yeah, same with me.
Every time I'd get sick.
Yeah. But anyway, you do want to have those openers in kilos.
Yes. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. I've seen someone give it in pounds and they weren't able to, but obviously I'll include a kilo conversion chart down below, but it's pretty. I mean, 2.2 is kind of weird math, so just use the chart.
You need a calculator because you would
Yeah,
think it could be like, oh, double it, and it's a little bit more.
yeah,
But 0.2 adds up.
yeah, yeah.
Pretty fast.
Right. Um. All right. What are some good tips, I guess? Like if you had one final tip, or actually, how about let's do this. What's the biggest mistake you made in your first competitions?
This one's embarrassing. Wait for the down signal, or listen to the signals if you're a power lifter, because you guys have way more than we do.
Yeah.
Pathetically enough, I hit a PR, got excited on my snatch opener, dropped it too early, and then that was the meet I ended up bombing out at.
Oh.
Yeah, so just don't make silly mistakes, I should say. Like if
Yeah.
you're gonna mess up, let it be, because you went for something that was heavy.
Yeah. Usually one of the telltale signs of if someone's lifting at their first meet is if they don't listen to the judges. And most of the time, or usually all the time, it's by accident. So
yeah, no one's ever like, screw this guy.
yeah.
But that being said, it's a good idea to start, especially for powerlifters. Like I said, weightlifting, it's pretty simple. Like add in some command training.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a week before or something. I don't know how long you guys typically would do it out, but
Yeah.
just
I actually like to hammer that in pretty hard for anyone new, especially.
yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Make it second nature, because you don't even want to have to think about it.
Right. Right. And then usually I'll give those commands whenever we're testing, which is usually anywhere from 3 to 1 week out.
Cool.
So yeah, if you want to be on that track, definitely have someone learn the commands first, and then have someone give them to you.
Right, and you can't do them yourself.
Yes.
I know technically you can, but that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You need to be thinking about your squat.
Right.
And that's the same thing. If you're thinking about commands, you're not thinking about your squat, and then you're not actually practicing being mindful of listening to that.
Yes, definitely. Also, I don't know for you guys, but for us, just take the squat, for example. Once that head judge says squat, you don't have to squat at that second. You can take a little bit of time. That's just when you're cleared to.
Right.
Yeah. So don't rush your breath. Still, continue on with whatever routine your pre-lift routine is, with breathing and bracing and all that. Right. And as long as it's within the 60-second time limit, you'll be fine.
Right. Weightlifting is the same thing. You don't get a command, but like the 1 minute clock starts.
Yeah.
And the same thing. You've got a whole minute. It's a long time.
Yeah.
Don't rush that.
Right. Yeah. No, a minute seems short, but it's pretty long if you have all your stuff and you're ready.
Yeah. If there's chalk on your hands and your belt's on, and you have a minute to start a lift.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually can't tell you what my beginner mistake was.
Because it's so bad.
Okay. So, I live in Massachusetts, and Matt just moved, but for us, USA Powerlifting doesn't hold a lot of meets in Massachusetts, at least before, during the time I first meet. So I actually had to go up to Albany. I've never been to Albany before. I actually got a speeding ticket right as I crossed the border.
Nice.
So yeah, so I had to go back and fight the ticket after.
Oh, that sucks.
Like on a separate week or a separate day or whatever. Yeah. But I didn't realize, and no offense to Albany, but your food sucks. Like if we stuck to chain restaurants, maybe it would have been okay. But I wanted to try some of their non-chains, and it was not good. Yeah, I think that's I guess that's more of a minor one. But being my first meet, I thought we could go check in. I could weigh in, give my openers, go back to the hotel room and get everything packed, and then go back. The problem with that is I didn't warm up for squats. Yeah, I just didn't. I guess I wasn't there during the announcement, but there's a few more other people who didn't warm up for squats, so I guess they didn't do a good job with the announcement. But because of that, I failed my first squat. My second one, I wanted to warm up, but there was another flight, and they were all taking up the squat rack, so I ended up using a hack squat machine.
Oh,
And yeah,
that's terrible.
yeah. So definitely know your warm ups. And yeah, just be ready. I mean, it's gonna be fun.
It'll be fun. It'll be a hell of a ride, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just as a recap, learn your lifts. Definitely the most important. Learn the rules, and apply that to whatever federation you're looking to join.
Right.
And pretty much it. Have fun. Do you have anything for that?
I think the last one, have fun.
Yeah.
Like we said, no one's going to be, not no one, but you're probably not going to be a professional lifter if you're listening to this. Just go out there and have a good time.
There's always going to be another meet.
Seriously, there literally really always will be.
Yeah.
Like, don't, like, obviously you want to perform well, but don't put so much pressure on yourself, and don't take it to heart if it doesn't go as well as you want it to. Like, don't let that destroy you.
Yeah. Just because you want a local meet, that doesn't make you some sort of professional either.
Right. Oh my! I've gotten so many medals at local meets just because
I know, yeah.
there wasn't that many people. You know.
Yeah.
Like, if there are only 3 of you that show up in a weight class, you're all gonna medal. You know. So don't go by medals, because it goes both ways.
Yeah. Just go by your, set your own PRs, exactly. And then you'll be good. Exactly. Yeah, if you have any questions about competing, of course, feel free to hit us up. If you want to go visit a meet and just watch, I definitely recommend that. But I don't know if your spectator fees are standardized, because ours definitely isn't.
I don't think we pay spectator fees.
What?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Like at a local meet, no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've never paid.
Is your entry fee just higher? Or?
It's hard to say, because like the last one, our entry fees were higher for stupid reasons. It was supposed to be like the first big weightlifting meet in New England to see if like they could host a national national event, and then it wasn't a big meet at all. But like, what are your guys' entry? Like, what's an average entry cost?
85.
No, that's average.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so the nonprofit that I lift under charges $85 for entry fee, and anywhere from $10 to $20 for spectator fees.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're definitely making some sort of profit.
I think that weightlifting has still not grown to like the level of powerlifting where, like, if we start charging for people to come, we're gonna get like 2 people that show up. So.
But yeah, so look that up. Definitely bring your friends and family. It's a good time. I mean, it's honestly, powerlifting is a really boring spectator sport.
Same with weightlifting.
Yeah, but if you come with a group of people, like, you guys can have food and drinks. It's a good time.
Right.
I would say actually for your first meet, if possible, to get for powerlifting at least, either regionals or the American Open, or like a bigger meet, because the atmosphere will be a lot better there. For regionals and the American Open, I know you don't need a qualifying total, so you can hop in there with just anything.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and that exposes you to a bigger crowd of better lifters as well, and obviously the crowd's going to be a little bigger, so it's just going to be more fun overall.
Right, and then once you get that under your belt, like what is a local meet,
Yeah, exactly. But that is all I've got. You good?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right. That was a good episode.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got to competition.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah.
That's always a good one to talk about.
Yeah. But if you guys are interested, please let us know, because we love coaching people to competition, it's just one of the most rewarding things seeing someone hit a PR or multiple PRs, um, especially when like they didn't think they had it in them. I think that's really cool as a coach.
Agreed.
But that's all we got. Uh, if you learned something, great, share it. Let someone else learn something. If not, share it anyway, and maybe someone else will learn something. Questions and comments below in the comment section. If you have any suggestions for a future episode, put it down in the comments as well. And as always, you can find us at Kilos and Closings and Chasing Strength on Instagram. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.